Do you want to understand what the younger generations are doing, watching and playing? In this video, that's exactly what I cover. Firstly, welcome back to the Warna Weekly, this time episode 2. Each Tuesday, I'll be bringing you insights about where the younger generation's attention is. One brand or product we're loving, one thing we're doing on our phones, so a social media habit or an app we're downloading, and one person, one influencer we're following. It can be really difficult to keep on top of the trends, especially in the digital world. So I'm hoping through these weekly videos, I can help you take more of an agile approach by knowing what's going on in the grassroots. So before we start, a little bit of a disclaimer. If you haven't heard of the brands or the people I'm talking about in these videos, please don't be alarmed. You're not out of touch with society, you're just really old. On a serious note though, I'm deliberately picking trends and products across a load of different industries and niches, so chances are you won't have heard of most of them. I could talk about Apple, I could talk about Nike, I could talk about Justin Bieber. My aim is to help you discover new things that you won't find anywhere else. For example, if you're not into makeup, you might not have heard about Glossier, or if you're not into tech, you might not have heard about the tech YouTuber I'm about to bring up. So actually, for me, the less you recognise, the better. It doesn't mean you're out of touch, it just means I have a little bit too much time on my hands. But to be fair, I am on my summer holiday. Let's get on to the video. So for section 1, the product I'm talking about is Fortnite. Fortnite is one of the biggest video games in the world right now, and it was created by its mother company, Epic Games. Since its release last year, it's made over $1 billion. But what I want to focus on is why the younger generations are totally addicted to this game. You work as an individual or as part of a team, and the aim is to survive. It's created a massive community. You can find millions of people talking about it on forums, on Reddit, for example, because even though people are actually competing against each other, there's a real team element to the game, and obviously community means everything. The second reason I think Fortnite does so well is because it's colourful. Now, that might sound like a bit of a silly insight, but when you think of video games like Call of Duty, you think of dark games that are really bloody and gruesome. With Fortnite, that's not what you get. And it allows people who haven't really played stuff like Call of Duty to jump right into the game and not feel too overwhelmed. Fortnite works on a season by season basis, so think Netflix, which means that the players never get bored because they're always expecting something new, they're always going to get something different. It's an absolute content powerhouse. New storylines, new characters and new worlds. Players can't wait to buy the next outfits, the next skins, the next weapons. They're not around forever, so there's a limited time on them, which means people jump on board and buy as soon as they can because they don't want to miss out. So it's creating FOMO, which we all know wins every single time. For section 2 this week, I'm talking about an app we're downloading. If you scroll through Instagram, you might notice a bunch of photos that look like they've been taken with a disposable camera. There's a timestamp on the side, there's a bit of light leakage, and the filter is just pretty old school. Rest assured, people have not gone and bought disposable cameras. They're actually using an app called Hujicam. I don't actually know if that's how you pronounce it, so sorry if that's wrong. Hujicam was released last September, but it's really grown in popularity this year, and I discovered it from seeing it on my friend's stories. I also discovered it by looking at what Selena Gomez was doing because I saw one of her photos was using this filter, and obviously I wanted to know what it was. So I googled it and found out it was Hujicam. So it's free to download, but when you get into the app, you have two choices. You can either take a photo from within the app, which then straight away applies the filter onto your photo, or if you want to upload a photo with that effect from your camera roll, you have to pay something like $1 or £1. I actually saw on Refinery29 the other day that there's now a competitor app for it called 1888, and I think it just has more of a pop to it in terms of colour, so I'm definitely going to check that out. I think we like these apps because they make us feel like professional photographers, even though we know we're not. They make us feel a bit retro, a bit cultured, and they're pretty flattering to be fair. But there are so many photo apps out there already, so this is probably just another bit of a fad, but I'll be sure to keep you updated with any new photo apps that do pop up. For the final section of this week's Warna Weekly, I'm talking about a guy called Marques Brownlee, who also goes by the YouTube name MKBHD. He's one of the biggest tech YouTubers on the planet. He's got 6 million subscribers on YouTube, another 1.5 million on Instagram, and he's been making videos since about 2008 or 2009. When he started out, he was reviewing hardware, so the computers he had, the gadgets he had. But then as he became more successful, he moved on to software, and now he's even reviewing and testing out products and brands like Tesla. Technology is a massive category on YouTube, but there are so many branches within it. One of the most popular types of tech video on YouTube is called unboxing videos. People literally buy a new gadget, like a new phone, a new laptop, and then they unbox it in front of you on the camera. There are so many viewers on YouTube who want to know what they're getting into before they drop £800 on a new phone. But why is MKBHD so popular? He came from humble beginnings, and through hard work, he hasn't lost sight of that. So people have supported him from the very beginning, and they've enjoyed watching him grow. Even though sometimes it looks like they've had instant success, they've been building their communities for 5 to 10 years, so it's all a massive product of hard work. There was no overnight success. A second reason why we really like MKBHD is because he comes across as super knowledgeable, so we just trust him. He's a real authority in the tech sphere, and when we watch his videos, we totally believe what he says. He does tend to get quite technical, so sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming if you don't know that kind of thing about gadgets, but at least you know when you watch his videos, he knows exactly what he's talking about. And lastly, like loads of YouTubers, he comes across as really approachable, really nice, and really down to earth. And for us, that means a lot. It's obvious that he's super passionate about the tech scene, and he just wants to help his community find out more. Personally, I don't understand half of what Marquez talks about, but I make sure I follow his videos because he keeps me updated on what tech is available, what's going on in the tech scene, and obviously that's massively important today. So that's the end of this week's Warna Weekly, bringing you insights into where the younger generation's attention is. If you want more updates like this every Tuesday, please do feel free to follow me or subscribe. I've also managed to stick this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify in case you prefer the audio file, if you want me in your ear when you're at the gym, in the tube or in the car, which you probably don't. I've also had to remove the washing up gloves from the sink because my mum doesn't want you to think that we just leave gloves everywhere, which we don't. And the last thing I want to say is thank you so much for all your responses last week. I really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this video as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.